Today, Project Civic gets new camber kits and extended ball joints. As you saw last week, Rob and I installed the action clutch and the competition clutch flywheel. I'm still kind of working to get the engine back together, so I'm going to start the video off. I'm going to finish that, reinstall the transmission. It's on the car right now, it's on the engine, but I still have some parts over here like starter and some brackets and the clutch line and the axles and stuff like that. So I'm going to do that stuff. I'm not really going to go into too much detail, and then we will get into the camber kit and the ball joints, or probably the ball joints first and then the camber kits. So I finished the transmission install. So everything is buttoned up with the transmission, and now I'm going to start on the ball joint process. I have these Truhart new ball joints, lower ball joints, and they are extended because my car is lowered. What I've read is that it's good to get the extended version like this, because since my car is lowered, anytime you lower the car, you're changing the geometry of the suspension. So this kind of corrects that change, and everything should function better. Plus my lower ball joints, the bearing is pretty blown. So we're going to install these now. I'll show you what the old one looks like.
That is the old ball joint, and this one's going to replace it. So you can see how much taller it is in comparison to the old one.
So I got a tool from Advanced Auto Parts. You can rent these from anywhere, but it's a ball joint installer separator tool. I'm hoping it's the right one for this car. I did notice I'm going to have to, unfortunately, take apart the brakes, take the caliper off, and then take the rotor off to get the tool on, to be able to press out the old ball joint and fit in the new one. You have to press it out because it's pressed in from the factory, so it's not going anywhere unless you get a tool like this, or I don't know, a big sledgehammer, which I'm not going to be into today. As you can see, no more brakes attached. Down here is the ball joint. So I should be able to get the tool on here now and press out this old one. Here is the tool set I rented. I hope that it's not too big. I'm going to actually disconnect the steering rack as well, just because it's going to be easier to manipulate this so I can turn it around. So you can see everything is free except for the top. The camber, or the upper control arm bolt, is still attached, so I'm going to spin the hub around just so I have access. This is the ball joint here, and this is the top of it. Okay guys, so you can see that I have the tool installed, but I can't get my impact gun on top with the knuckle attached, so I'm going to undo the upper control arm up here. I'm going to be replacing those anyway, so it's not like it's not like I didn't have to do that anyway. So I'm going to do that. This is going to come all the way off. Hopefully I'll be able to get it off that way. I got it. This tool is not quite right for this, but it ended up working because you can see how this is set up, there's really no space for the tool to sit on this side of the ball joint. So it's kind of difficult for it to work out, but just powered through, and eventually it got it out enough that I could just use the hammer and it came out. So you can see here the difference. So I've greased up the ball joint, the new one, and I cleaned and greased the inside of where it's going to sit. So I'm just going to place it in like so. Just getting it started. New ball joint in, as you can see. It kind of tears the tag off, the label or whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't matter. It's a little bit cumbersome. This tool is not really designed for Hondas, or at least this generation. There's just not a lot of space in this general area here for the tool to grab onto, but the hammer helps just kind of bash it in. I know some of you are gonna probably lose your shit over that, so sorry about it. You know, this stuff is hard. So I think that's good to go. It feels good. Now I'm gonna move to the camber kit and swap that out. That should be easier. I moved my brake caliper. It's hanging off one of the mounts, so I can undo the upper camber kit and replace it with the new one. Up here to the shock tower, and there's 2 bolts on either sides of the tower. You can see right there, this one, and then it's right here, sandwiched with the battery. Leave it in there while I get the other one. Alright, so I have the battery out of the way now so I can reach that bolt. Here is the upper control arm from the car, stock OEM. See, ball joints pretty loose. These bushings are special, to say the least. And here is the new Truhart setup camber kit. So we have an adjustable camber plate on top and a new ball joint, which is firm. The reason I chose these is the price mainly, but also because you can adjust these while they're on the car, because it's going to sit on the car like this. So, and this is going to face the top of the fender. A lot of manufacturers put the top of the bolts on the top. So when it's on the car, it's very hard to get an Allen key or whatever to adjust these. But Truhart has done is put it bottom mounted, so I can adjust the camber while it's still fitted to the car, which is a huge preference. So I'm probably going to set these camber wise in the middle and see where it sits, because I don't really know what it's going to look like. So one more thing on the ball joint, I have to install this ring around the edge here so the ball joint doesn't want to go that way. Be on there now, so you can see the ring there. Here, I'm sorry. Seems to be seated correctly. So I'm going to install the camber kit. Unfortunately, Truhart does not provide a hex key for these, and it's extremely large, and it's bigger than the 1,000 hex keys I already have. So I'm not going to adjust it right this time.
I'll do it later, but I'm gonna get it installed at least. So take it in, get your bolts, and then on the top, just feed them through, just get them started. I'm not going to tighten them down all the way at the moment. I'm going to wait till everything's together and I can get it at ride height. I'm going to get the hub back on with the new ball joints. Kind of attach it at the top and then the bottom. It seems to work. Kind of make sure that they're seated straight on. And then we'll just get these on loosely. Everything is attached, cotter pins are in, and got the new camber kit up top, and the bottom ball joint. Going to adjust things later, because this crap's taking me all day. So I put the axle nut on, and we'll be good to go. Oh yeah, I got the axle in the transmission finally as well. I have a tool to adjust my camber kit because I have the Mazda 3. This is what I use to change the oil because it has a hex nut and it actually fits these hex nut bolts they have up there. I'm so excited. So as you can see, you just kind of go in here, you can loosen these. I've already loosened all of them, and you can see how you can adjust the camber. You just push on the arm, and that seems to be full camber there. So I'm just going to kind of go back to the middle, and that should be good for now. Just to test it out once I get everything done, see how that looks. That's it for today. I did one side. Passenger side is done. Camber kit, ball joint, the transmission is all back together, and I got the shifter back on, so that's all good to go. Next week gonna do that side because I'm really tired right now and it's been all day. Next week I can get everything buttoned up and drive it, you know, put fluids in and see what it does. Hope it all works. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.